right, it's time for Answers Party Line today for your Friday. Cinco de Mayo, man.
Yes,
May
it
the
is.
5th. Cinco de Mayo. Yes, Dennis knows.
Hey, you know what else is happening on Cinco de Mayo?
What else is happening?
You know the former district conservationist with NRCS, Steve Selno?
The former Steve Selno, yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
His birthday's today on Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Happy birthday,
Love you, buddy.
Steve.
Yeah,
All right.
happy birthday, Steve.
There we go.
That was Mike Hemmann.
Mike Hemmann.
Yeah.
No one ever said that before, I bet.
Yeah, nobody.
Because if you could see Mike through your radio speaker, Mike has been working out a little bit here and there, haven't you? Or is that all farm labor? Is that all...
Yeah, I guess it's farm labor. Yeah, you can call that. Yeah, I've been working out.
Looks like you've lifted a few weights here and there.
I'd
Yeah,
say
a
about
little
12 or 16 ounces at a
12
time.
or 16 at a time.
Well, if you 112 times at a time, that builds up, that tones up things. It does.
Yes, it does.
I haven't gotten up to a proper introduction because Mr. Dennis interrupted me.
Sorry.
You got
Go
all
ahead,
excited
take it away.
about Cinco de Mayo. No, it is Answers Party Line today. It's Wimmer Optician, St. Cloud Atlas Family Chiropractic of Wade Park brings us the program. With us, Mr. Dennis Fuchs, Administrator with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District. Also, Mike Hemmann, the NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service Engineer Technician. Mike and Dennis, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I am doing
morning.
wonderful. What is going on with you guys?
Well, I think I'm going to just quickly cover the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program. I know Mike is just chomping at the bit to cover a lot of energy and EQIP stuff, but Mike, just settle down. We'll get to you.
I'll take a backseat to you, Dennis.
All right. Okay, so Minnesota Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program. The sign-up kicks off May 15th, which is Monday, May 15th, and right after Mother's Day. And landowners have a new option to protect their environmentally sensitive cropland with the introduction of the Minnesota Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program. Minnesota CREP is a voluntary state-federal program designed to improve water quality and habitat conservation. It will protect and restore up to 60,000, that's 60,000 acres of marginal cropland across 54 southern and western Minnesota counties. And yes, Stearns County is included in the program area. And this program is going to be targeted toward buffer strips. So some of those farmers that need to be installing buffer strips in order to be in compliance with the Minnesota buffer law, this would be one of the tools that you could use. Also, another practice that we're going to be targeting is wetland restorations. And one that I'm really excited about, and something that our county comprehensive local water management plan has identified as a priority resource concern, is drinking water wellhead protection. As you know, our city of Cold Spring has been experiencing elevated levels in nitrates, and putting some of these areas in native prairie, native grasses would help reduce the amount of nitrates coming into the drinking water supply, and also the water that they use for making beer right there at Third Street Brewery. Beer. All right, native plantings on those acres will help filter water, prevent erosion, provide critical habitat for countless grassland species, including badgers, meadowlarks, and monarch butterflies. I don't care too much about badgers. I'm more of a gopher fan myself. Not the pocket gopher, but the Minnesota gopher.
I'm following you. I'm keeping up with you.
Right,
We're right behind you.
All right, cool. John Jaski says this is a milestone in conservation for Minnesota. It targets the most critical acres and will provide water quality and habitat benefit for generations. The program is funded with approximately $350 million from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. That's our federal partners. And $150 million needed from state sources, which includes our Clean Water Fund, our Outdoor Heritage Fund, and Capital Investment, which is also known as bonding. The Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, which is our LCCMR, Legislative Citizen Commission of Minnesota Resources Fund. The Minnesota CREP is administered by the Farm Service Agency, our USDA partners, and Bowser, the Board of Water and Soil Resources, our state agency, but involves numerous other partners, including the Minnesota Department of Ag, Department of Natural Resources, Minnesota Department of Health, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, as well as us local soil water conservation districts. Minnesota is at a crossroads in conservation, according to John Jaski. The state is facing serious water quality challenges, and we're losing hundreds and thousands of acres of grassland through expiring CRP contracts. Minnesota Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program isn't the whole answer, but it plays an important role in addressing both of these issues. Landowners who are accepted into the Minnesota CREP will enroll in the USDA Conservation Reserve Program, CRP, for 14 to 15 years, and at the same time, the land will be put into a permanent conservation easement through the state's Reinvest in Minnesota program, RIM. Private ownership continues, and the land is permanently restored and enhanced for water quality and habitat benefits. This is not open for public hunting. These properties are under private ownership, and if you would want people to hunt there, they need to ask you if they can hunt there. It is under private ownership, and it is not open to public hunting. This program helps producers with land that needs to be protected so that they can farm the best and most productive acres and set these aside, according to Michelle Page, Minnesota Acting Executive Director for the USDA Farm Service Agency. We encourage people to take advantage of this opportunity. And I know we just had some training for our staff yesterday, and so we're getting geared up. So when the sign-up begins on Monday, May 15th, hopefully we'll find some farmers out there interested with some of these targeted practices. This isn't put our good cropland into a permanent easement. These are for marginal cropland areas or areas within our wellhead protection efforts, where we can actually improve water quality, our drinking water supplies, our beer making supplies, and that's a very important resource that we need to be protecting, our drinking water supply. So target those areas if you know you're in a wellhead protection area. I know the Minnesota Department of Health, our office, and others have tried to increase the awareness if you're farming or own land in a wellhead protection area, which is usually identified with a 10-year time of travel. You got your well that goes down 100 feet down, and they'll do a pumping test to determine where that water is coming from within a 10-year time period, and then they usually square it up with township roads and stuff and call it a drinking water supply management area. And those areas are definitely what we're going to be targeting, including the buffers. As you know, all of the waters out there, public waters in the Minnesota buffer will need to be buffered by November of this year. If you have some areas that need to be buffered, this would be another great program to get compensated for putting that in the buffer. Now, there are some limitations on what you can do with this property when it is part of the program, and some maintenance can be done, but we haven't got all the details yet on like harvesting for hay. Typically, they want you to do that after the nesting season if they do allow it, so it'd be closer to July when the forage quality is a little less, but there might be an opportunity to do that. So visit our office May 15th if you're interested. Hopefully you'll have time. Your crops will be planted by then, and you'll be able to visit with us about the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program.
Is that the only factor, the key factor needed to be accepted into CREP, what you mentioned, that area?
It's going to have some cropping history. It's not going to be just rural vacant areas. You can't just throw those in because we're already getting great benefits from those areas. So it most likely will require some type of cropping history, so it has to be in crop production. Pasture land, we'll have more information on that too, but typically those areas may or may not be, those kind of questionable. And so the pasture area might be eligible, and they might not be. I can't tell you for sure because I wasn't at the training yesterday. Bummer.
So you don't have the expertise knowledge to determine.
Jason Selvog in our office and Kevin Roth are the two experts in our office that would be helping manage the CREP program, along with the Farm Service Agency staff. And those folks would be able to answer those questions. And if they'd like to give our office a call right now before you get busy planting, that phone number is 320-251-7800, extension 3. Jason or Kevin.
How long are you taking applications up until?
I think it's going to be open until it's filled, and 60,000 acres will go fairly quick because they got 50-some counties open in the western, southwest, and southern part of the state.
Okay, very good. Tell you what, now's a good time to take a little break for some news information and stuff. news, sports, weather. And when we get back, Dennis, what shall we cover when we get back?
Well, I think we're going to give Mike a chance to talk. Gosh, I'm sorry, Mike. I just got a
We'll
little
talk
long-winded.
energy.
That's okay.
Energy
yeah, that
stuff.
sounds good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We'll do some energy. We'll talk energy auditing, energy lighting. We'll talk a little bit about EQIP, different programs I've got going on with Mike Hemmann coming up, and also Dennis Fuchs here on Chasm Radio. Again, we are at 58 degrees. The sun is shining. It's going to be a beautiful Cinco de Mayo. It's 9:30. It's news time, Chasm Radio. Answers Party Line, we continue here on Chasm Radio. SWCD, NRCS there in the house. Dennis Fuchs, Mike Hemmann in studio with us. Mike Hemmann, NRCS engineering technician. Mike, it's your turn. You are the energy guy kind of today.
Yeah, I'm just glad Dennis gave me an opportunity to talk. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Environmental Qualities Incentives Program. We just had a sign up here that went through the office here, and we had 34 applications that got funded. That was worth about $1.7 million that was brought into the county to do management practices such as nutrient management, pest management, cover crops, also doing structural practices as far as for erosion control, which would be water and sediment basins, grass waterways. And then we also for the engineering practices was for doing feedlot fixes. So doing waste storage facilities, vegetative treatment areas. So it was a good sign up, a very successful sign up for us. So we're very excited.
Is that 1.7 million divided by 34?
No.
That's not how it works.
No,
Okay,
that's not how it works.
Just curious if that's
No.
that was the deal or not.
No, but we're taking sign-ups right now.
For next year.
For next
Okay,
year,
okay.
for 2018 EQIP. We're doing the management practices right now, such as the nutrient management, pest management, and cover crops. If you're interested in doing engineering practices, then what we like to do is have you sign up on our conservation sign-up sheet in our office. That's just basically getting your name, your address, where you're located, and then what you'd like to do out there. It's a way for us to track you so you don't get lost in the system a little bit. And then we can do our survey work, preliminary designs, and then try and come up with a cost estimate for you, and then show you what you'd get for financial assistance to do those practices before we actually have you sign up through the EQIP program.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about today is an upcoming practice that I'm really excited about is energy. We've got financial assistance through the EQIP program to have energy audits completed. You have to hire a technical service provider to do those audits for you. We've got a list in the office that you can pick from. But I'm really excited about the audits. And then once you have those audits completed, then you can go ahead and sign up for energy improvements. And some of those energy improvements, the big one for us here in the county is to convert to LED lighting. As far as in the freestyle barns, everyone likes that LED lighting. You plate coolers, water heaters. There's a lot of different items that you can sign up for. And as long as you have that audit completed, then that makes you eligible for doing the improvements.
How long does it take once you sign up to get the audit taken care of?
It's about a 1 year timetable as far as getting the audit completed. Once you get the funding secured, then you can go ahead and start picking out your technical service provider to have that audit completed. And then the following year, then we'd sign you up for doing the energy improvements in the office there through the EQIP program. And then that year, then you'd do those. So it's a 2-year process. So don't wait until the last minute. All of a sudden, things are starting to maybe not work so well, and then come into the office and say, hey, I want to do this. It's about a 2-year deal.
Good.
So, yeah. But Dennis has a workshop that he'd like to mention about doing energy stuff. So you want to touch base with that, Dennis, a little bit?
Yeah, but before I do, Mike, I was going to ask you just a couple questions.
Yep.
So EQIP would help pay for some of the conversion of the equipment to like plate coolers and LED lights, right?
Yep, they would. They pay for doing those energy improvements. So like switching out from your T8s or T12 lighting, and then you can go to LED lighting, in those facilities.
So you probably know some of the farmers that have participated with this program. Do you know what kind of energy savings they see?
No, I have not touched base with them on that to see where they're at with their energy savings. I know when you have the audit completed, it'll show you in that audit as far as what energy you would be saving, your kilowatt hours, and then also your greenhouse gases that you're saving too. So by doing that conversion.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. And I will cover the upcoming big conference on energy. It's the Midwest Farm Energy Conference. It begins on Tuesday, June 13th with registration at noon. And then there's going to be afternoon sessions. And the conference will continue on to Wednesday, June 14th with emphasis on renewable energies and technologies for swine. Options include a full conference rate, single-day rate, and there's also an option to just attend the keynote dinner only. And this conference is going to be held at the West Central Research and Outreach Center at Morris. And I would encourage you to Google Midwest Farm Energy Conference to get some additional information. And just kicking off some of the information on Tuesday the 13th, they're going to have a dairy farm energy consumption speaker come in and talk about that on Tuesday, June 13th. They're going to talk about net zero energy dairy, optimizing energy production and use. And then there's also going to be a dairy energy life cycle assessment speaker coming on later that afternoon. They're also going to be doing a tour after their 3:20 break. They're going to do a tour of dairy energy systems and then come back for a networking and social hour, which will be held at the old number 1 South Side right there in Morris. And then 6:30, they're going to have a dinner and keynote speaker. And this meal will be provided as part of paid registration. They're going to have the dean from the College of Food, Ag, and Natural Resources Sciences with the University of Minnesota, Brian Beer. And then also President Barry Dunn, South Dakota State University, will be there. And Mark Greenwood, Senior Vice President, and he's with Relation Management at AgStar Financial Services. Wednesday starts off with registration at 7 o'clock in the morning. And there's a welcome at 8. And then they're going to talk about swine with a panel looking at industry perspectives on swine energy systems. At 9, they're going to have energy conservation in livestock and swine production. And then at 10 o'clock, there's going to be a research panel looking at energy consumption in commercial swine facilities, reducing fossil fuel use in swine systems. And they also are going to have an application panel later that morning, and they're going to be looking at financing, economics, and case studies associated with renewable systems. And then in the afternoon, they're going to be doing a tour of swine energy systems. And then they'll be wrapping up the tour later that afternoon. If you're interested in registering, just Google Midwest Energy Conference. It's going to cost about $50 a day to attend, and that does include the keynote dinner speaker that was mentioned earlier. That'll be on Tuesday evening, June 13th. So that'll be, once again, out at Morris at the West Central Research Outreach Center, and just a great opportunity to learn more about some of our renewable energy systems to save you. And I thought, Mike, we had a farmer that was saving thousands of dollars a month on his energy bill. I can't think of the producer, but you can save a lot of money with these more energy efficient systems.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially the way things are right now with, your margins and things. If you can save a little bit of money by doing little things here and there, why not do it? And plus, it's good for the environment.
Also, Mike, you had something about an egg bag plastic recycling.
Yeah, I wanted to touch base with that a little bit. I've been out on a couple of dairy farms here now, and in the last week, and a lot of them have had dumpsters on their property for recycling egg bags. So I kind of wanted to give a shout out for that. It's through Revolution Plastics. They provide farms and dairies with free on-farm egg and silage plastic collection. The toll-free number to contact those people is 844-490-7873. That's 844-490-7873. You can also just Google them on the internet and just Google Revolution Plastics, and then it'll come up with a search engine there, and you can just click on it, and then you can get all the information from them.
So do they deliver something out to you?
I think they deliver the dumpster right to the farm there, and then all you've got to do is just put the plastics in there, all your used plastic, and then they'll come out and collect that.
Where are they out of? What do you know, by chance?
Boy, I don't even know.
Because I was going to ask what the area they cover, or if it's just no matter where you're at here in the area.
I know that there's a bunch of dairy farms that have done it. I know what they like to do is get a bunch of dairy farms that are in one area that want to do it, and then they just have one central location. So maybe you can talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, and see if you can get something lined up there, and then you guys can get that taken care of.
I've been to the Revolution Plastics website, and it doesn't say where they're out of. It's a pretty simple website. If you want more information, just Google egg silage plastic recycling or Revolution Plastics, and you'll get to their website, and there's a sign-up form right on there.
And you said cost factor is?
I think it's free.
You think it's free?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you don't have internet access, give me a call at the office. I'll definitely be able to try and help you out a little bit. And that, just to reiterate that, like what Dennis said, it's 320-251-7800, and then that's extension 3.
Okay.
All right, speaking of free, we have a field day coming up to demonstrate some cover crop economics and soil health, and that'll be held on the Dan and Crystal Lai farm located near Richmond, actually right on Highway 23 between Roscoe and Richmond, on Tuesday, May 16th. Now, I know that's probably not the best date, but we're actually looking at some winter annuals and taking forage off of those this spring, and then going to be planting corn, soybeans. So we had to time it the best for Dan and Crystal, and we're hoping that farmers would have a little bit more, and I'm sure you're hoping you'd have a little more corn, soybeans planted by now, but this is just the way it turned out, and hopefully it's not going to be a very long field day. It's only going to be from 11 o'clock to 2, and maybe you can join us. And some of the things they're going to be looking at, here, let me just let you know that, first off, the Lies have participated in a 3-year sustainable ag demonstration grant with the Minnesota Department of Ag to determine the potential economic value of various winter small grains planted as cover crops in the fall and then harvested in the spring as silage. Dan planted cereal rye, winter triticale, spelt is like an ancient grain, and winter wheat in strips on a 12-acre field in the fall of 2015 and 2016. Dan has been measuring silage yield and forage quality of the cover crops, as well as the yield impact on the following soybean crop. He has also tracked changes in soil health in the small grain fields compared to an adjacent check strip with no cover crops. Standard series soil tests have been taken, along with the new Haney soil health tool, which was also run on each strip. Dan will be also monitoring physical soil changes, including soil temperature, soil moisture, permeability, and compaction. The SWCD, Ag Resource Consulting of Albany, have assisted Dan with these tests. The field day will take place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Tuesday, May 16th. You will see that what these crops look like prior to harvest, and hear speakers from the University of Minnesota Extension Service, Ag Resource Consulting, and from the SWCD. We'll be sharing summarized data from the plots, including economic value of winter and small grain silage. There's no cost to attend, and a light lunch and refreshments will be provided. And once again, for directions, if you're coming from the east, drive 4.5 miles west of Richmond on State Highway 23 to 246th Avenue, then about a half a mile north on 246th Avenue to 222nd Street. There's a lot of directions here. Just look for the doggone signs on Highway 23, and we'll get you there. Or if you got any questions, give us a call in our office, 320-251-7800, extension 3. And we've got a couple folks that are taking charge of this field day, and that's Brad Wenz in our office and Katie Breath. Those are the two people you want to talk to about the cover crop day, and we hope to see you out there. It's going to be a very interesting show of how well we can incorporate these forages, silage, and then still get a decent soybean crop off of these fields. Mike, anything else you wanted to cover today?
Not that I wanted to cover. I just wanted to cover those energy practices and a little bit about the EQIP program, that Environmental Coys Incentives program. So I'll let you take it away here. Finish her up, Dennis.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate that.
Nice to have an understanding between our guests.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing I'd like to mention before we wrap it up today is there is free nitrate screening available, and this is for tile water, the water that's coming out of your tile lines. This is through the Minnesota Ag Water Resource Center, and they'd like to better understand nitrate levels in tile drainage, and they are offering free confidential nitrate screening. And all you need to do is collect a few water samples from your tile outlet or outlets. When tiles are flowing, collect samples of 2 to 4 ounces of water in a clean plastic bag or bottle. Multiple samples are preferred to assess nitrate levels throughout the year. Discovery Farms Minnesota research indicates that greater than 90% of the annual tile flow occurs from March through July, and collecting samples on a weekly or biweekly or even a monthly basis during this time period would help provide information on nitrate levels during the time when we have most of the flow. It is important to label each sample with the date and the source of water or which tile outlet you were collecting from. If not immediately analyzed, the samples should be frozen until the day of analysis. Samples can be brought to the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification booth at FarmFest, and you can also contact the folks at the Discovery Farm or our office to get additional information. That phone number, once again, is 320-251-7800, extension 3. It is important to know nitrate levels in your tile drains in your field. With the wet spring so far this year, tiles are likely to be draining now. Collection of samples now through early summer will give you a good range of nitrate levels from your field. There are no water quality standards for tile water, but significant reductions are planned during the next 3 decades. Tile samples can be compared to Discovery Farm monitoring data to provide an indicator of potential nitrogen losses and possible strategies to mitigate loss. And they did have the dates here for Farm Fest, and I know there's a lot of farmers here from Stearns County that do make it to Farm Fest. That's August 1, 2, and 3, 2017. That's down in the Redwood Falls area, close to Jackpot Junction, Morton. And
Cha-ching.
Yeah, ka-ching, ka-ching. Cinco de Mayo. Meow. So that's something that we also have going on. And Discovery Farms, I think most of our listeners know that that is a edge of field monitoring program throughout Minnesota. We have a site on the Nick and Tara Meyer farm between Sauk Center and Meyer Grove. We've been collecting samples out there for close to 5 years, and both surface runoff samples looking at nutrients coming off and sediment. And also we have a tile line that we're collecting data from. And most of the things stated here where we do see the most flow of water is in the spring when we don't have an actively growing crop, and it's an opportunity for nutrients to move off of the field. Now, right now, the site is in alfalfa, and that changes everything. That crop is actively growing right now, whereas your cornfields, there isn't much corn growing actively right now. So we see a great reduction in the amount of nutrients that come off. The alfalfa is using a lot of water right now, and they'll be taking their first cutting here in a couple of weeks. And so it is significantly reducing the amount of nutrients that comes off. These perennial crops are great things to see on the landscape and really reduce the amount of nutrients that enter our surface waters. So that is about all I have for you today, Brad, without going into another hour dissertation of great things happening.
Going back to the nitrate testing, you said confidential screening. What? 5 nitrates, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, and I think they just want to make it comfortable for the farmer to collect this data and share it without feeling that
somebody ridiculed down the line, or
ridiculed, or a regulator showing up and saying, you got to do something different, So it's just an opportunity to share, and that's what the Soil Water Conservation District and NRCS is all about, is providing the information to help you do a better job to protect our resources. We're not a regulatory type of agency. We're just the good guys.
We emphasize that quite a bit during the past shows.
Yeah, exactly.
We're giving good advice, but we're not going to put you in jail if you...
Right, exactly.
But we still would... It's you're working on the conscience level, kind of. The guiltiness, I think.
Exactly.
Just wondering. All right. Is that all, folks?
That is it.
I think so.
Mike, is there any closing comments you'd like to share with the listeners?
Like to sing a song or anything?
Here. It's been a while since I've been here. Yeah. So, it's great to be back and do the radio program. So, I enjoyed it.
How are we doing with construction? Are we getting started here with farmers on some of our ag waste or other projects?
It's starting to fire up here a little bit, with the dry spring that we had here so far. Now recently here we've gotten kind of hit with some rain and things, but it's starting to fire up. So that's always a good sign, and get outside and get some conservation on the landscape.
Are you trying to keep as far as a schedule of tasks so that you don't fall behind or anything?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm already planning for EQIP 2018.
Oh, really?
I visited with all the producers that I wanted to sign up for 2018, and working on 2019 already too. So if you're interested in doing any of those practices, either erosion control or a feedlot project, the sooner you can get into the office and sign that conservation sign-up sheet, the better.
Don't wait around.
Yeah, don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Mr. Mike Hemmann from NRCS, Engineering Technician. As always, Dennis Fuchs from the SWCD. Mike and Dennis, thanks for your time. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It was fun.
Minute before 10, we got news coming up next. Chasm Radio.